night again, and it's 7:15 for our live talk forum with Lynn Rene MacDonald here at the Institute for Christ Consciousness and the Copper Dragon. Actually, this isn't a live talk forum. This is 6 and 12 Medical Intuitive. So I forgot that we were talking just about another show that we had, and I was just talking with Rachel, so I got a little in the wrong show. Anyway, so tonight, again, it's Medical Intuitive. It's 6 and 12 Medical Intuitive with Lynn Rene MacDonald here at the Institute for Christ Consciousness. You can come live in person. We have some people already. Hi, Steve. Thanks for coming. And we have lots of questions and lots of really good, cool work that I've done on one person's question and medical intuitive work that we did from last week, and that was Sarah Sutra. So hopefully she'll come on. If not, either way, she can watch the reruns or replays from our show here at through the Facebook or through my YouTube channel live. Okay, so thank you all for coming. It's a little crazy and chaotic. Jennifer's getting the sage. We need the sage on already. We haven't even started.
Relight it.
All right, she's going to relight it for me and for all of us. All right, so again, welcome to our Medical Intuitive Gallery, basically our live talk forum to teach and to call in, to ask questions, anything and everything medical. Thank you, God.
It's not a good show without a look from Lynn.
For clearing all this energy off of us. We just had some wild shit go on. Jennifer's wilding, so I got to get this energy off of her. She's like fucking blowing it up with the sage, getting the sage on me, burning me up. All right, so tonight we did lots of research on last week's medical intuitive question that we were answering for Sarah Sutra. We did a whole load of progressed stuff on her chart, right? So we have about 1, 2, 3 different pages of aspects, actually 4 pages of aspects that universe or God has guided us to. It's another one of those nights, has guided us to, right? Thanks, God, for us being free of this energy now, please, and bringing us to this smooth harmony, best place to be from love for our show now, please, free of glitches and crazy wild energy and harmony and the best of from love in the purest form, and thank you, God, for that for us. Everything we need from love. Okay, so Sarah Sutra asked questions last week, and we have her answers, right? We did an extensive overview of everything that was going on with her and her health, and a lot more other cool stuff came in from the universe, right? And thank you all for coming. Hopefully more people will come in a few minutes. If not, you can catch the replays on my YouTube live, the reruns from the show. Okay, that said, we have Sarah's chart, which has a whole bunch of aspects from her progress chart, all right? And we got like 4 pages of those. And tonight, we are going to do a massive metaphysical clearing and healing on all of us, if you guys all want to do that. That was the plan with Spirit, because we have even more pages, guided by God or love, just doing what we teach, ask and you shall receive, right? So all of these, right, all these aspects, right, were the aspects that universe gave to me that will metaphysically help Sarah to heal herself with all the other gifts and tools that she is working with now, right? So because health isn't just physical, it is metaphysical. And that's what this show is about, really. All health, all healing, all questions, all in reference to anything health, okay? So that said, then universe gave me these aspects. Now, these are not all the aspects to her chart. In fact, I have the chart. I think we have her chart. Do we have it pulled up, one of her charts or her progress chart?
Yeah,
okay, thanks. In fact, I have her progress chart with us, and just to give you an idea, there's so many aspects, and this is just one aspect or one basically layer of her soul. This is her progress chart, right? So we show you her progress chart. She also has a subconscious chart, right? We're just going to give you a rundown, right? She also has a transit chart. Okay, so there's a lot of things that we were guided to from the universe, which are all layers of our souls, right? If you look at the formula of astrology, it gives you all the answers to everything that is God, and it's fascinating, right? It tells you what's coming in your future, the propensity for difficult challenges, right? What's coming in your health, what's coming in your career, right? But it also gives you the underlying subconscious energies and unwellnesses that many times we can't pinpoint unless we work with God to get those answers, right? And with the stars or astrology, so to speak. They're a lot more challenging, right? Our reality will show us our issues, but sometimes, and more often than not, it is so subtle, right? Or subtle. With that said, we can't always get to those things because it is so subtle. And we're like, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I do this, or I can't seem to get rid of this sickness and it keeps coming back, or these symptoms or those symptoms, right? So tonight, we went through, and last week, we went through Sarah Sutra's stuff, meaning her chart, her questions, her symptoms, all those cool things. And we're going to get to yours too. Hopefully, and if not tonight, we're going to keep going. We're going to answer a few questions from last week, along with Sarah's tonight. And we're going to answer a few from this week so that we keep everything rolling and everybody's happy, okay? That said, universe guided me to pull out certain aspects. You saw her chart in the picture from her chart, all right? And here we have them. Right? We have a whole bunch of them, all right, that were the biggest, most powerful ones, right? And again, this is Saturn. It's practical, it's to the point, but it's also Mercury in Scorpio. It is also Mars in Virgo, right? And a whole load of other placements. And you don't have to have these placements to have these gifts, right? When I looked at Sarah's chart, my God, it was so much like my own, but yet uniquely different to hers, because she too has that Chiron wounded healer thing, which makes it very difficult to heal you, right? We all have Chiron aspects in our chart, right? But these are some of the most powerful, difficult energies in our realities, especially in these times, and they've been challenges through our whole lives as we peel off the layers or remove the stuff, kind of like an onion. Or when I think of our souls, I think of it as, you make a bed and you're in a really, let's say in your bedroom, right? And you have you're in a really cold, let's say, log cabin, right? And you have layer and layer and layer and layer. You have all these sheets on the bed, and you have all these blankets on the bed, and then you have the cover over the top, right? So that's what your soul is like. And the more complex the soul, the more aspects and things you got going on in your astrology chart. And it depends also on free will and what you ask God for, or you ask universe for, and what you are doing that, how you are doing that consciously and subconsciously. So many of these aspects, when I read them off, as we're going to clear and heal and change them, right? When I read them off, many of you might not even relate to them, because everything is energy, and more often than not, especially in these times with this subtle transformation energy, it's so subtle, it comes out in your physical body, like my finger thing, right? It comes out in your behavior and in different physical energies, like my daughter Sophia with the seizures, right? With me and my issues, and all of these things are ultimately related to the mold sickness, right? And this again is your 12th house. It is your Sagittarius and your is it Sag and Gemini, I believe it is. In your north and south nodes in the transit, and they're bringing in, right, or have brought in, right, mysterious illnesses, right? So wouldn't everything under the COVID-19 be a mysterious illness, right? Whether it's the shot shedding, anything else that you're picking up, right? And if you didn't get it in through the COVID-19 whole epidemic, planned darkness, basically. If you didn't get some kind of illness or unwellness or challenge through that with your health, mysterious illnesses, right? Then in my particular case with the mold sickness, I mean, this is fucking crazy times, right? But everything, all the answers are in the stars and are in your soul and your God connection. So I don't just do astrology with the work that I do. I talk to God, I listen to God or love all the time. And I get my answers by working with that energy, working in my reality, seeing what's going on out here, how I feel about things, right? Through the astrology, right? Through any messages that come in, whatever God guides me to through the astrology. And just like tonight, before and all day today, or earlier today, before I came in tonight and was working with Sarah's chart and Sarah's health stuff, what happened was I asked the universe, I said, okay, God, what is, right, the biggest, most practical, easiest way to remove this unwellness from Sarah, right? And to help and assist her for her greatest healing with all this, right? So we look at the chart, we get the chart aspects, the biggest ones, right? Now it doesn't mean that there's not plenty more healing to do, absolutely. But my job is to nip it in the bud and get you on the biggest path of your best well-being and the most practical, easiest way there from love, right? And all healing is physical and metaphysical, all right? So it's Earth world, Saturn's Earth world, universal law, and law of love energy or God or universe, and that would be Pisces, right? And then, of course, all the other placements are all part of God and play a part and a role. And one isn't bigger than the other. It's just this is what is known as these particular governors of these aspects or of these energies of universal law, so to speak, okay? So you have Saturn is the governor of Earth world, and the Pisces is the governor of enlightenment and spirituality, right? But then you have the governor of truth, the God's honest truth, you have Pluto, and then you have governors of freedom, such as Uranus and Sagittarius, and in different ways, right? And then you have governors of past lives, which would also be Pisces, which is also the spiritual thing, spiritual energy, and of course, governors meaning whether you say Pisces or Neptune, Libra or Venus or Taurus, right? So, it's all relative and in different aspects in the astrology for what you're looking for. Each thing has different governing factors that will help and assist you, more prominent than others. But when you put them together, or you'll get bits and pieces also from other places because you are complex. You just like when you look out the window and you see all the trees and all the skies and all the people, or you see New York City and how busy New York City is, or you go into this beautiful gift shop like ours, right? And you see all these things all over, right? You can see easily that God is infinite, right? Infinite, and so this helps you to work with that infinite and understand it in Earth world. And it's a super gift because health, this has everything to do with your health, and it's in everything. Does this not make sense? Yeah. Okay, so that said, what we're going to do is, Sarah, I have all these placements for you, but I'm going to read like 4 or 5 because I don't want to, guided by spirit, I want to give you like 4 or 5, which are really good. And what we're going to do is we're going to then photograph them in the next few days and send them to you so that you have these, so that you can work on these exact placements yourself, right? So we looked at your progress chart. We looked at your transit chart, and we looked at, I believe, your natal chart, just in these alone, and we may have even looked at your solar return chart with all this, but we've got a bunch of placements here. I know we pulled them up, and we have 4 different pages, right? So I will give you some here, and these are great for everybody. So if you're on the show, these are great for you as well, all right? Let me give you an example. Progress Saturn, opposition Black Moon Lilith, right? And that would be in your natal. Progress Saturn, conjunct Saturn, okay? Progress Mars, conjunct natal moon. Progress Neptune, conjunct natal moon. Okay, so North Node return. Okay, let's see, part of Fortune, conjunct Black Moon Lilith, right? So you can look up, you're going to find many different aspects of these, right? And traditional astrologers will be like, they'll say, oh, you have to look it up just like this, and it has to be this way, kind of like a math formula where if you get one number wrong, it's fucked up, but that's not really how it works. The truth of God is it is infinite, and it is never, like this is the end of, like, this pen is all that is here, and while it's separate, it's always attached. When I went to drawing school, or when I went to college for art, right, what they taught me is that you would start drawing something, and then you would draw where it was attached to something else, and where it was attached to something else, right, because everything is connected, right? And this was how, really, back in the day when I went to college in my early youth, I went to college and to art school, and that was how they taught you. And in this reality now, because creation is everything, right? In this reality now, it helps me to see how everything connects, right? So the same is true of astrology. While you think that it's just this, or they say it's just this, it's so much more than just that one placement. And it's so much more than they think in their academia or academic placements and things in astrology, right? So what do I mean by that? Okay, that means like we get so rigid in our intellectual thinking in astrology, and while there is a formula, absolutely, just like there's a formula of Saturn's Earth world, there's a formula for, a basic general formula for spirituality, which is love, right? There's a formula of doing the right thing in Earth world, right? Integrity, honor, respect. Saturn governs Earth world universal law, just like Pisces does, right? And then over here, right? In astrology, it's the same thing. There's a general rule, right? But you have to learn, right? You have to learn how the basics go. Just like when I went to art college, I had to learn a formula of how to draw, but there's infinite formulas, right? Just like there's infinite ways to heal, there's infinite ways to do everything that is God. That's the whole magic of it all, right? That said, these placements, whether they're progressed, transit, solar return placements, whatever it is that you find when you Google these and you look them up, right? Because that's what I'm guiding you to do. You will get a whole bunch, 10, 15, 5, all different astrologers who post their wonderful work, right? And you work with that work to clear these aspects out of you, right? That's an awesome way to really, really get to the bottom of your metaphysical stuff, whether you're aware of it or not, so you can bring it to your attention, okay? So, and you can start to what? Clear, heal, change, and create different in your soul, in your reality, in your health, and in everything that you are. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you just took an hour out, right? Because this seems like, oh my God, it's so much. Oh my God, right? So I ask God for the best ones to do this. And you do the same thing. Thanks, God, for this for me, with my chart, with my stuff, right? With everything that I'm doing, okay? Everything in my life, the best way to do it, the best placements, the best way to heal. What do I need to look at metaphysically to heal me physically? All of it in the best way. The quickest, most easiest, healthiest, best way for me, from love, right? And then as you do that, you can ask God for what exactly those placements are, right? And here we have like 10 or 12 pages of them for Sarah. So tonight, we're going to, in the next few days, Sarah, we're going to Google these to you for help you with your greatest healing, right? With all of this, okay? With your best healing for all of this, right? Along with the other stuff that your heart guides you to and that you feel in your heart is for you, okay? As well as anything else that we have guided you to the past that you choose to use for you. Because again, we all are responsible for our own health. We all make our own best decisions. So, but if you're on this page, right? Or this show, then you got some of this, right? As we all do. It manifests in different ways in each and every one of us. So Sarah, we're going to mail those to you. And then I'm going to read here. How many pages is this? Do you even know, Ray?
I don't even know.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 pages here. And with that, I'm just going to do another sage. All right, so you guys get ready, man, because we're going to do some intense clearing work, right? Or healing work in our souls, right? And in all that we are, okay? First, we're going to lay up this sage. Some more. Thanks God for the best healing, the best clearing, the best of everything from love for everybody now, please, with all these placements. And I'm going to read them off, and I'm going to try to read them a little bit slower so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. When you Google the astrology placements that other people came up with or whatever, but, God guides you to them from your soul. It's ask and you shall receive. When I say other people came up with, other astrologers, right? Everybody is amazing. Everybody is God. Everybody is love, right? So you work with these energies because they're all designed to help us heal ourselves and heal each other, right? Or work with healing each other too, right? All right, so that said, here we go. Thanks for the best of everything for all of this with everybody. Clear, heal, and change, and release all energies that are a following thing in emotional as well. Connect to all the emotional with all of this as well. Process it, clear it, heal it, change it, free us from it, release it in the healthiest, best way from love, as well as all energy that is all of this. And thank you, God, for that for all of us. Are you ready? Because this is going to be ass-kicking. So all the following placements, release, clear, heal, and change it, and make it change to love in the purest form, in this reality, any reality, and all that is now. Please, God, from love in the purest form. And thank you for these gifts in our souls and in all we are, be, say, do, and create, and all that it is with all this energy now, please, in the best way for us and all, for something better. And thank you, God, for that for us. Okay, you ready? Here we go. Let's see, anything in us that is rough around the edges, super not nice, mean, nasty, and shitty, consistently pessimistic, condescending, degrading, and arrogant. Well, this is some rough stuff, right? And all of these things, believe it or not, 10, is to help us be closer or one with God, right? And this is all what universe told me to heal our hearts, our second house, right? Our self-worth, our hearts, okay? All right, that said, that's just a few of them. Ignorance of the self. Ignorance, ignoring ourselves, our hearts, our needs, not even knowing what our needs are, not knowing how to truly have fun for ourselves, right? Ignoring our bodies and not loving ourselves, our bodies, and not loving our bodies in the healthiest, best way. Not liking certain body parts, for example, our tummies, our eyes, our nose, our hair, right? And then self-hate upon those things, right? Anything and everything to have to do with the houses of 9, 10, 11, and 12, right? The stuff in our belly spaces that we can't digest, right? All right. Also, toxic relationships with you, hateful relationships with you, can't stand you, hatred of self, disconnect with everything that is you, disconnecting emotionally from your body, disconnect from your body, from your toxic, disconnect from your heart, disconnect from your dreams, disconnect from your happiness, disconnect from your joy, disconnect from your nurturing, disconnect from yourself, disconnect from your health care, right? Your personal health care, taking care of you. Disconnecting from anything and everything. That is you, right? When you're lazy, being lazy, Mars in Cancer, never feeling like you're never going to make it, just not wanting to do anything, not wanting to do it, not wanting to do what it takes, can't do what it takes, don't want to do what it takes, and believe that you can't do what it takes, having an itch that you can never scratch, always second place, always falling short, always failing, always feeling like you're going to fail. If I don't win, it is a detriment. So the belief of that, the belief of earth world beliefs of winning, believing in societal beliefs of healthcare, that is not truth of God, or any beliefs that are not truth of God from love for our best health, right? Taking everything personal to you. Everything is an attack on you. You're never able to heal yourself. Everything is everybody's fault. Nothing is ever your fault, right? You're blaming everybody else, right? And you're never able to heal yourself. All illusions that are not truth of love in the purest form, right? Physical pain in the heart, unhealthy circulatory system, unhealthy lymphatic system, unhealthy adrenal system, unhealthy nervous system, always sucking off other people, emotional immaturity, believing nothing good ever happens for you, all right? You're not lucky and you will never be lucky, and luck never happens to you, and nothing good ever happens for you or to you or with you. Taking everything personal, all right? You bail on yourself. You give up on you. You're never going to be successful, never going to heal you. You're never good enough. Everyone is successful, but you're not. And feeling like all of these things and all the emotional tied up in all of these energies and with all of this, right? And all that is toxic with that. Okay, nothing you ever do will be good enough. Everyone is successful, but you are not. A secret internal nasty to you, secret internal nasty to yourself, secret internal nasty to everybody, beating yourself up, allowing others to beat you up, hating to speak up for you, can't stand conflict, super sensitive to the point of major toxicity. Do you see why we become sick physically, mentally, and in our lives? Holy motherfucker. It's like infinite with old souls. There is so much stuff going on. And yet nobody talks about this shit, right? Nobody. Because you got to have God connection to do this. This is the way of the new world, right? Okay, here's more. Being impatient with ourselves, not being compassionate to ourselves, having no empathy for ourselves, self-loathing, cutting ourselves, right? Beating ourselves up, right? Physically. Mentally, banging our heads against the wall. Self-loathing, blocks to connection to God and love. In its highest form, no trust of God, no trust in God, no trust in love, no trust in ourselves, no trust in others. The devil inside you. Alternate you. Beliefs of demons within you. Beliefs of demons within. Massive void of the self and the heart. Massive void that is unfillable in the heart for you. All right? Unfillable for others. Super nasty hatred to the extreme and all that is. Putting everyone else first. Your needs don't matter. Toxic rage, toxic sadness, not being connected to all that is, God, love in its purest form. Massive emotional deficits in our hearts of self-worth, inability to want to deal with shit in our everyday lives, inability to want to deal with anything, right? Inability to do anything. Dreading conflict, dreading speaking up for you, dreading having to do anything in Earthworld, dreading your life, feeling overwhelmed. Everything is too much. Massive anxiety, massive fear, massive something bad could happen to me, massive what if this happens, right? Fear, 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 anxiety, incredible sadness, dreading your life, feeling overwhelmed. Everything is too much. You're too much. You're sick and you suck and you can never do it. And believing that you're constantly sick and you'll never get better, right? All right, here's some more, people. We got 3 more pages, so you ready for this? All right.
These are good.
Yeah, these are great. Well, these are all channeled from love energy based on those astrology placements for everybody to start really massively healing your hearts, because we have to be whole for what's coming in this world. Okay?
I'm grateful for these.
Yeah, this is good shit. Yeah. All right. Despise for those less intelligent, not as wise, impatient for self and all, feeling stupid, feeling like we're stupid, all delusions, delusional thinking, self-delusions, delusions about other people, delusions about the people we love, sick thinking about anyone, anything, and all that is, toxic self-love, anything and everything that is us out of alignment with love in its purest form, unwell relationships with everything that is ourselves, negative self-thinking, self-abuse, repetitive toxic thinking, repetitive emotional feeling for the self and all. Repetitive emotional feeling for the self and all. So what that means, just to give you an idea, to stop in the middle of this, that's when you get a bad thought and then you freak out about it and you keep thinking about it and you keep fueling it about it with your fear emotions. And then what do? You create it. I know people who have created deaths of their newborns. I know people who have created sickness in their pets. Yeah, and Jennifer's laughing because she knows about that too, right? Because certain energies, especially water signs, they suck up everything and they're so emotional and they get wild with it, right? So these are fantastic. So thanks God for all these healings, clearings, changes, and the best way to be from love in the purest form, in this reality, any reality, and all that is in place of all this for all of us, and the release of all of this from love in the purest form for all of us. Disconnect from your speaking up for you. A disconnect from your health. Ignorance in all ways of everything and in all that is ignorance. Imbalance emotionally. Imbalance between head and heart. Unbalanced in your entirety and in all that you are. Intellectual ignorance. All blocks to the God's honest truth in you. Not being able to see the subtle things and despising stupidity. Toxic cycles of not being able to heal you. Emotional, mad fueling of toxic and negative beliefs. And fears of being disabled in any way, shape, or form. Mad fear of anything and everything. Mad anxiety of anything and everything. Super, super toxic sadness, right? Emotional is the fuel that creates in this reality. And when we stomp down our emotional stuff, right, that's how we become sick. That's how we manifest illness, unwellnesses in any way, shape, or form in our realities. And everything is health, right? I can manifest things like, in this case, my soul is working on some crazy shit with the illnesses that we have going on here, you know. And like I say to my children, everything that is God or love could be way worse, right? We could be living in a tent. We could not have a home at all, right? We couldn't have friends to stay with. We couldn't be healing ourselves, right? We couldn't have all the answers. I mean, we couldn't have all the beautiful things that we have. We could lose everything. We could have nothing, right? And even though we're sick and we're having some massive challenges, all we have to do is ask love and ask God and work with that energy. So every single time in these times, God is throwing me a hardball, right, in my health and in everything, because some days are really great and some days are really fucking hard, right? Some days I have tears in my eyes. I'm in so much pain, right? Truth of God. So I say, okay, God, how do I change this? What do I do with this? I see that I have this. Why is that? Where is this in me? Clear, heal, and change it. Show me what I need to do. Let me be free of this, right? All of this crazy, right? In me. Let me be free of it. change it, heal it, create it to be the best wellness from love, the best way to be from love in all that it is, in this reality, any reality, and all that is. And thank you, God, for these gifts in our souls with all of this. And in all we are, be, say, do, and create, and in all that it is from love. And thank you, God, for these gifts for all of us here now. And so, Sarah, you shall be on your way to your greatest healing. We will, as you can see here, we did massive work on this, and this is all to help everybody, because until you get to the metaphysical of all that is God, then your stuff keeps recurring in some other way, shape, or form, or chronic illness happens, and it doesn't go the fuck away, right? You can put a Band-Aid on it with holistic medicine, but it'll come back, because you've got to get to the bottom of all the stuff going on, right? That is in you, that are these habits, patterns, beliefs, energies, that are emotional stuff, right? And it's all energy, and it's either subtle, or it's really big and it's in your face, like right here in Earth World, right? Somebody, comes in and says nasty shit to me. Well, I got to deal with that right here in Earth World. Okay, God, why is this happening? Clear, heal, and change this in me. What in me is causing this to happen, right? Let me understand this. Let me change this. So in that moment, I'm working with God all the time. Otherwise, I could lay down and say, oh, my God, I'm really sick. My kid's having seizures. I can barely move. What if I die? What if this happens to me? What if I'm homeless? What if I'm living in a tent? What if I can't do all the work that I need to do? What if I can't afford anything, right? The moment I start to freak out and fuel it with emotion, that's when trouble begins, right? And trouble begins pretty big, but you can stop it. Thanks, God, for me being free of that. Thanks, God, for me changing this, because you have all the power to be your greatest, healthiest you. You do, right? So, Sarah, we will email you the rest of these placements, or these placements that we have here, but we did a huge amount of energy work for everybody here tonight. So you will have shifts in your consciousness. And this goes along with everything in the stars. If you're here, you have asked God to change these things in you. You have asked God in some way, shape, or form, whether it's subconscious soul or conscious soul. You've asked God to heal you. You've asked God to be well. You've asked God for these things, or you wouldn't even be on the show, right? Because this is how it really works. Pretty cool shit, right? All right, so that said, let's take some questions tonight. I'm going to do some more saging in the next 3 to 4 days. Sarah, if we don't have the stuff to you, contact me and my people, because we get overwhelmed, because every day it's a new challenge from love, and I'm like, Jesus, take the wheel, because that's how you're going to handle these times. There's no way that you're going to get through it better. Thanks God for helping me. Thanks God for changing this for me. Thanks God for the best health for me. And create your reality too, simultaneously at the same time. Okay, so who's next?
We actually have Molly. She sent this chart, I believe, last week.
Okay.
It's her mom's brother's chart. She'd like to talk about the mental health. Her mom's brother was schizophrenic and manic bipolar. He passed away in his 30s. Whatever you get from his chart on a personal/educational level, she would love to know. And she says, thank you, and I love you guys.
Okay. All right. Hi, Molly. Thanks for coming. All right. Let me just clear this energy for me. Ooh, and that's the other thing. Do sage. Put lavender essential oil, right? You can use lavender essential oil in a diffuser. You can mix it with a carrier oil. Literally, you can put it on your wrist. This will help you literally clear these energies out of you, right? The sage, you can use Palo Santo, you can use incense, right? You can use stones, right? We talked about amber, right? Getting rid of all the past life energies, right? All these things are tools to help this go a lot smoother, faster, easier, right? Feeling your heart, what works for you. And if you don't know, you can ask me as well, or universe, God, love through me, okay? So, all this said, let me just get this, and then I'm going to ask God. So Molly wants to discuss schizophrenia, correct?
Yes.
All right. So everything is energy and mental illness, and there's all different variations of mental illness, as we all know. And everything is right here in everything that is God, that is in your soul. Okay, so when people say yes, certain times some people do need medicine for these things, especially if they have severe or depending on the vibrational, mental illness that they have, because it's all different vibrations, right? It's all different vibrations of bipolar, right? or kinds or types and variations of bipolar with, let's say, anxiety disorder or this disorder or schizophrenia or multi-personality disorder. There's all different variations and vibrations of all this stuff, right? But this energy can manifest, believe it or not, into other things as well. It doesn't just manifest into this. Same thing with addiction, right? It's all about how your soul has learned to cope or not with these energies, and it's just wildly amazing stuff, right? I wanted to, take a moment here to let you know how profound this work is, right? To give you an idea, because it's not just your physical unwellness. This kind of work helps to heal, right? It is your mental unwellness as well, right? Whatever that is, whatever energy is in you or that causes toxic out here as well. And I'm going to tell you what happened in this story last week. Last week, in the middle of the show, my one daughter started to have another seizure attack. And it turned out that I talked to God and I said, hey, what's going on here, God, right? And this I didn't know about, believe it or not, till after the show, because I love my family, and they're so lovely, and they didn't want to ruin the show. But I'm like, Jesus, God in heaven, you know what I mean? I didn't know about it until afterwards. But everybody knew how to take care of her, and everything ended up great. But God told me exactly what happened. She got a jacket from somebody, and it had perfume on it, and she wore it. And that set her off, right? So we had to get rid of the jacket. We had to wash everything that she pretty much fucking owned because it was attached to her hair. I had to get her in the shower. We had to take off the bed sheets. We had to take off all the clothes that it touched. And it was fucking insane, right? But what happens then is I said to her, I said, this is not just earth world physical. I said, this is metaphysical, and we have to get into the energy room. I said, and we have to do some work with this. I said, we got to go into our chart, and we got to really work on this energy, right? I said, because we need to make these intense or incredible changes in your soul to heal this, right? So this is what we ended up doing. We ended up doing this energy work that we did here, and then we went into, the energy room, and we did a whole bunch of work, and when we came out, right? When we came out of the energy room, I have an energy room here at our Shoppe and Center. We have other energy practitioners as well who do amazing work, equally as great, incredible stuff, depending on what you feel called to. But I took my daughter in there, right? And when we came out, right, when I was in there, I was getting all this information and all this stuff, all based on this and talking and working with God or love. So I come out. And we had and before I even went in, because I worked on this shit for days with her, from the time the seizures started to happen again last Sunday during our live talk forum show to present now, right? From that moment, there was massive amounts of work that I did with God or universe. I said, okay, God, I need this and this and this and this and this. And I prayed on this and I changed this and I created this and worked on all this stuff. And then the day of, we use music, like I've talked about on our shows, right? Some of our shows, we use music as well in our healing. And they said to me, play 1943 music. And I went, whoa, okay, I'll play 1943 music. And then it went 1940 to 1949. And lo and behold, after doing all this astrology work on her and working with God and universe, right, through the whole energy session and sitting down, and everything comes together. And as a big chunk of my daughter's healing, because everything physical, right, is metaphysical, right? So with this mold sickness, while it's physical, it's showing the manifestation of what's going on in here, out here in my reality. And until we heal that and clear that and change that and work on that, it's not going to go away. And this is the challenges, because my daughter, like me, stomps her emotions, puts them over here because they're too painful to feel, right? Tough shit. And then ultimately, this causes this, but so does mold sickness, right? The seizures, this meaning the seizures, right? Or this sickness here, right? Yeah, crazy shit, right? Because it manifests in wherever your weaknesses are, whoever you are. But again, everything is metaphysical. So that said, what happened is we had a past lifetime together, me and her, right? And this is where it gets crazy. All right, but it was 1943, and I was her mom, and I had dark hair, and her father was not really in our lives, so he came in as a shadow, right? And I was standing with my baby, and she was a baby, and she was like 8 months old, and I was holding her on my hip, and I could see this white dress and these roses this white dress, right, that I was wearing, and I was holding her, and I was her mom, and she was my baby, right? And we would dance, and it was just me and her because her father was absent. He was in the Navy, and he traveled, and I don't even know who he really was, but that's because it's not important with what we need to heal with right now, here, right, when we were together to do this work. So I'm dancing around the kitchen, and one of the things that we did together in this magical life that was just me and her, and remember, she's a baby, and all she did was smile all the fucking time, and I loved her so much, so much. And all these emotions and all this stuff is coming out of me, right, after the session, and I'm hysterical crying because I'm like, oh my God, right? I feel all this incredible love and the great life that we have together, and I'm dancing around the kitchen, and I'm dancing with her, and my soul and her getting these visions. And I drop her, and she lands on her head, and she goes into seizures for 7 fucking days in the hospital and dies. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm crying profusely for like days, right? Because this is literally attached to what's happening in this lifetime, and it's going on in her soul. And her soul is releasing this energy to say, hey, we have a problem in here that needs to be healed, as well as the problem that you see out here. Do you see? Incredible shit, isn't it? Just incredible, incredible stuff. So, and then it gets even worse because it was so detrimental. And it's crazy because it wasn't necessarily the fact that I dropped her, right? And that she passed away and had the seizures. That's detrimental enough. But the most incredible thing about this life that was the most painful is that we had this beautiful, amazing life together and loved each other and that life so much that even now I'm crying about it because it was everything to me in my heart, right? So this energy, right? This energy has to be released. So it was so painful for me to lose her. It made me fucking crazy. And then I shot myself in the head, right? I mean, I get a vision of me putting a barrel in my mouth, a gun barrel in my mouth, right? And I'm like, okay, God, I'm like, holy shit. Talk about painful. Talk about unbelievable, right? And so she comes out, still removed from her session, her energy session and all the work that we did. And she starts to tell me, I tell her this whole story, and she tells me, I know you're right, Mom. I know you're right. Right? So there was massive healing in this, right? But it gets even better because let me tell you, right? Because she worked on this and she's doing way more fantastic. Her energy is completely shifted into a new space. It's incredible what this work does. So get ready, everybody, because you're going to experience that from us doing this. All right. And we're probably going to do this in more shows for those of you who are interested in this coolest shit because it's just incredible. And because you can't really get to the God's honest truth of your healing without working on this stuff. You can't. You just can't. And you can do it other ways with other energy people. You follow your heart. But this is what God guides me to do. This is how we do it. And you are always welcome to be with us and do it, man. Because we're all about love. We're all about teaching you the best way to do everything from love in the purest form. That's what we do and teach. But my best way might not be for you. You might need to do a different way, right? However, I'm going to go back to this story because this is really important, because you can say to me, oh, you dreamed that up, or you made that up, or you're full of shit, or I don't believe it, right? But let me tell you what happened in my reality in this lifetime. Earth world, this lifetime here that we're in. Did you hear this story? It's incredible, isn't it? Oh, yeah. It gets better. It gets better. Just wait. Right? So I realized that in this lifetime, my mother, when I had Sophia, right, I was actually married to somebody else. We'll talk about that on another day. And I had a baby with somebody else, right? So my mother got angry with me, and she knew something was up because my mother, of course, super intuitive, and she's like, Lynn, she goes to me, whose baby is this? Whose baby is this, right? And I'm like, Mom, I was like, it's none of your business whose baby this is, right? And she says to me, whose baby is this? And I said to her, it's my baby. This is my baby, right? And the whole time when she was little, and even today, I call her my baby, and that comes from that lifetime. I would dance around the kitchen, and I would say, you're my baby, my baby, my baby. Incredible shit, right? Then my other 4-year-old daughter, Madeline, we got a little dress. That I wish you don't have that scarf, do you?
Not on me.
Yeah. And my sister, and this tops it all off too, my sister had this creamish color white scarf that has these roses on it, right? And she starts wearing that, like within days of us doing this clearing work. And it was the exact material, like color design, that was on the dress of the visions that I saw in that lifetime in 1943. Crazy shit, right? Gets better. My little daughter, Madeline, right? She had a dress when she was 4 years old that we bought for like $1 or $2 at the secondhand shop because she was madly in love with it, right? Madly in love with it. I said, okay, we'll get this dress for you, right? And we put that dress on her, and that dress was a cream dress, the same dress with these little roses on it, right? Like they were about this big, right? And so you see there's all these correlations in this lifetime between everything that happened then of the stuff that needs to be healed in here, right here in my fucking reality. And I'm like, holy shit, this is incredible, right? So that said, right, there's more. There's more. All right. My baby's dad, he was in the Navy, okay? And he wasn't here for her really her entire life. Just like in that life, right? And that's okay because that's karmic agreements. It doesn't make it right or wrong. It just is what it is. But the reason I'm telling you this is not to rag on him or give him shit. You know, that's not the job here of this. My job here today is to share with you, right, why and how that happened in this lifetime again. And it's for multiple reasons, right? Because my partner wouldn't leave me. My partner would not be there for me and my baby if I loved myself in the healthiest, best way. And this is second house. This is all this shit and more, right? So if I loved me, I would have a partner who could be there for me, right? Yeah. Crazy shit. But this I'm telling you because it manifested the same shit in that lifetime where I have a man who's not there for us, who is her dad. Same thing happened in this lifetime. He's not really there. God bless him, because he has his own unwellnesses, right? His own shit to deal with, right? And this isn't making excuses for him. This is because this isn't what this show is about right now. It's to show you how everything in my life relates to all this, and all the signs are right here in our reality. Incredible stuff. Incredible. Right? And then one more thing to share with this before I go into Molly's brother's chart with the schizophrenic energy. Excuse me. Because this is the energy that comes in with the seizures, right? This is also the energy which comes in with massive different unhealthy or mental disorders, so to speak. You know, whether it's bipolar, anxiety, you know, all different schizophrenia, personality disorders, depression, whatever mental illness you have, addictions. All right. So these toxic, unwell energies can manifest in any way, in every way, in all of us, depending on the placements in our chart and or the deficits in our souls, but also the positives and the wellnesses that help to keep us some form of sane in this reality, right? With all the stuff that we carry when we're very, very, very old souls. Right? And the last thing I want to share with you today in reference to this for now, in reference to this lifetime, is that with my oldest daughter, Madeline, when she was about 10 days old, her dad put her in a car seat and didn't strap her in on a little baby seat. And we were new parents, and I don't blame him. And thank God he was, everything was all right. We're new parents. And at this time, I think I've worked through this, but if I haven't, God, thanks for me changing that from love. And with all of this, please, from love or to love in the purest form, in me and in all that it is. And in this reality, any reality and all that is, this space of love, thank you, God, for that for us in the best way for us and all, or something better. Okay, so he put that baby in that seat up on top of the table, but it wasn't fully on the table. And I was about 10 feet from him, and I knew instinctively. And I turned around. And I, in time to see the baby falling in the car seat thing or seat thing onto the floor, smashing her head, right, in this reality. And I was like, oh my God. And thank God she was fine, right? But we went to the hospital and did the whole runaround. But this is another way of the universe showing me, bringing up the past to remind me, right here in the present, having these connections right here, right? All right, bringing up the past right here into this reality, right? So why? So I can heal it, so I can clear it, so I can change it, so I can be aware. All these things are gifts to guide us. Ask to see them. Ask for these gifts, right? You have all the power. Thanks, God, for this, for me, from love, right? These gifts in the purest form, right? In this reality, any reality and all that is, thank you, God, for that for us, right? All right. So that said, you can see how these things happen. So this is a big chunk of working on healing Sophia and her emotional stuff and all the energy that is all tied up in this for her best healing with all of this. But it's funny, not really funny, but odd or unique, or that Molly would say, Lynn, there's this schizophrenic energy, because that's what this seizure energy is. This is what universe guides me to say. This is that type of energy. Everything is fueled by your emotions, right? But here in Earthworld, there's layers and layers and layers of things. And so while she has an illness, right, the mold sickness that is causing these deficits in her, behind the scenes, it's metaphysical. And everything, just like your whole astrology chart, works together to bring this to your attention so you can heal you in the healthiest, best way from love. Really wild shit, right? Incredible, isn't it? Fucking incredible. Okay, so Molly, I'm going to take a look at that chart and we're going to see where we're going from here. Yeah, what's wild, Molly, is I see the family lineage. This is some wild shit going on in his chart. So you have a similar energy running in you, right? But that makes sense. It's a family lineage. What your soul does with that energy can or is not completely different from his, but usually it is, because that's what makes us so unique, right? So you would have variations of that energy, right? Similar energies. We've seen and looked at your chart other times, right? So you guys can see that here, right? I don't know if you can see Molly's chart. You see it, Jen?
Yes.
Jen? All right. All right, so that said, and then the other thing you'll have is a lot of zero placements and really unique placements. You can almost see in the energy for sure, right? When you see all that crazy stuff, you can say, oh, wow, there's a lot going on in him, so there's massive challenges, right? And that can also be indicative of schizophrenic energy, right? The red, the triangle, which is really, really neat. There's a big triangle in this, right? There's also a big cross, right? So, and there's a massive amount of red in here. Red is life force energy, right? And it's crazy because if you look at it, there is a cross, right? Because in red, right? So if you look at just that alone in the messages in Earth World, if you can see that center cross, right? That red cross, right? Cross is like coming to God, right? That's a symbol of coming to God. So this crazy energy would drive anybody to go to God. The pain is so great. The suffering is so great. This is why that's in there, right? This is what a lot of people won't tell you unless they mix everything that is God in all their gifts to do what it is that they came here to do from love in their own special way, right? Just like with us, with talking to God and the astrology and doing Christ formula and all this magic, whether it's numerology, all different forms of energy that are the formulas of God or love, right? We mix because everything is energy from love. Reading numbers, right? Reading astrology, all different forms of astrology, talking to God all the time, asking about this, comparing faces, numbers, letters, words, right? Everything is energy and has the answers. And right here in the middle of astrology is a symbol of a cross in red, right? Red is your life force energy. It's your passion energy. And he can't have that, not truly, in the purity of sanity, right? If he doesn't heal this, right? So this is about great pain and suffering. Mentally, such great pain and suffering that he cannot even address it in this lifetime. And this is what causes this insanity, right? Unless he gets to God, right? So let's say he could get on some medicine, right? But then there's multiple challenges. But if you even got on earth world medicine, so to speak, or even metaphysical medicine, right? You still got to work on the stuff because there's a propensity for him to not take that medicine. That's like one of the things that's indicative of mental illness is the people, are delusional sometimes and crazy and they won't take their medicine. They think nothing's wrong with them, right? And so insanity is infinite as well as everything is God, as everything that is God as well. It's infinite. So when I say this, this story of this, just by reading all the aspects and the design that they make in the center of his chart, you see, by reading all those red and blue lines, This is what I see. I also see where his solace comes again and again in triangles. And what is a triangle? There's a massive big blue triangle, and that's where the cross is, right in the center. Oh, shit. All right. See that big thing right in the center there? Yeah. Or you see it, right? You see the cross right in the center, that big triangle. I don't know, I'm losing an Arab. All right, so we got it. So the big cross right in the center, it's right in the center of the triangle, and the triangle is your Father, Son, Holy Spirit. The triangle is the number 3, active God. The triangle points to the heavens, because that's how you're going to get well from this, by working with God, by working with love. So you could put people on medicine, but if they can't remove the stuff, the energies in their souls, it's never going to go away. So while you can work with things in earth world, you've got to get to the bottom of it, right? And it's a progression. Some souls, like ourselves, are way older than others, and some are way young, right? Some have more shit than others, more crazy processing. Sometimes our hearts, like your uncle, is so broken and so hurt. He's stuck in the middle of the forest, and it's like being stuck in darkness that never ends. And it's heartbreaking, right? But even if we put him on medicine, some kind of medicine in earth world, let's say, or we put him in holistic medicine, right? We would still have to do the metaphysical energy work, right, on this. And again, one of the greatest ways is to start studying astrology to get to all those amazing answers, right? As well as work with God first and foremost. God will lead you to all the placements, everything you need to know, the whole entire formula, the foods that you need, from everything. Like when I do, the earth world stuff here, like they'll be like, you need to drink juice, or you need to have yogurt, or you need to have blueberries if you're going to be hungover. Do you see what I'm saying? For your best healing, right? This is how it works. The biggest, most important formula that I can teach you out of all these things is to work with God. To work with God or love, right? Ask and you shall receive. It's the Christ fucking formula. It's amazing. And that's how I got to all these other things. God, I want to be the most powerful healer I can be in this reality. The most amazing spiritual teacher. I want to change the world. I want to heal me. I want to know how everything works. Everything. From love. And I want to know exactly whenever, however, I want to learn how to do everything. That is love in its purest form. You can do anything. Ask and you shall receive. I didn't get to these answers because I just woke up one day and was like, oh, I just have these gifts, right? Be lovely, yeah. But, the truth of Earth world, Capricorn, Saturn, is that you must do the work. And because we're very old souls, people like us don't get these kinds of gifts like this. All the gifts that I have, you don't get these kind of gifts being born yesterday, right? Not really, right? For the most part, you have to always work with God for lifetimes, the highest levels of love. Right? Purest levels of love. You can, and what does that mean? Going through lifetime after lifetime after lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. Right? And same thing is true in Earth world. You don't become a fucking gold Olympic athlete like Michael Phelps because you sat on your ass in the bleachers and wished for that. That helps you, sure. Because you're projecting and it's kind of like praying, like words and thoughts create. But the truth is, if you don't do the work in Earth world, it's not going to happen. If you have Mars and Cancer and it's fucking you up, meaning you're just tired, lazy, don't want to do it, right? Right? Some of that is Mars and Cancer, but there's some other good placements about Mars and Cancer, right? But some of these are challenging. And you can have other things going on too in there. But the bottom line is everything is about your God or love connection. Because you can't get to any energy work, anything, right? That is, amazing in its purest form of love, right? Or your greatest life, or your truest happiness, or enlightenment, or even your best health, or your best life, or just being happy, right? At whatever level of happiness you want. Without working with love, you can't get the answers that you need. And the God's honest truth of them, Pluto, Scorpio, right? Right? In Earth world. Can't do it. Because it doesn't work that way, right? Okay. So Michael Phelps didn't get all those gold medals because he sucked and he didn't do the work, right? He had some challenges though too, right? And it doesn't mean he's amazing, right? In everything that he is. But if he starts doing his spiritual work, he will be. And he will truly be happy in way more ways than the happiness that these gold medals and stuff that have brought him, right? Yeah, even beyond that. Okay, so here's what's going on, Molly. Back to your uncle. The triangle, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, God triangle, pointing up to the heavens, that's where your answer is for your greatest healing, which is your God connection. But with the red cross in the middle and all the other red stuff, lots of pain and suffering going on in there in his soul. And it's wild because this is his astrology chart and it's in the center. And in the center is what? Your heart. Your heart is the center. It's the purest form of love that is you. And it's all that is God or love, right? Yeah. So his heart is so hurting. So he's got lifetimes of stuff. One of the biggest ways I can see this is that he has so much going on in his 12th house and in his first house. A lot of planets going on in there. All right. And, he has North Node and South Node in Scorpio. That means there's some like really big unwhole, that you're not fully whole in your heart for you. The world is going through this massive transformation of healing and being whole in your heart right now. We all are going through it in some way, shape, or form at all different levels of God or love that is us. So, also, having his part, they're telling me having his part of fortune on his descending. Are you heading out?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm so glad I came. It was
Good.
fantastic.
Good. Thank you, Steve. All right. I love you. See you later.
Love you too. Bye-bye.
All right. So, part of fortune, he's got his part of fortune on his descending, and your part of fortune is where you're going to make your greatest life happen in this life. And the fact that it's on his descending predicts descendant, right? Going down, right? And also your descendant is about like relationships that you have. That's why it's on the border of the 7th house, but it's also on the edge of the 6th house. The 6th house is your house of health, and he has his moon in the 6th house in Aquarius, conjunct his Chiron, massive mental challenges, massive, but they're really manifest in what people think is mental, but it's really what's going on in his soul that is toxic, that manifests as mental illness in this reality. So, you too, Molly, just like me, just like Ray, just like Jen, just like Sophia, just like pretty much everybody out here, we're all going through these phases here because we came on the planet to become whole again, to live our greatest lives in our dreams, and to be in our heart and to change the planet. And you cannot, right, change the planet and be in that heart space of the higher vibrations of love energy, right, if you do not heal your heart. And there's so much pain and suffering, man. Let me tell you, I cried for days with this one lifetime with Sophia. And I could tell you, like 100 other lifetimes that I have had. That's one of my gifts, tapping into people's past lives. I can look at what you wear and tell you about your past lives. I can look at your eye color, your hair, your face, your expressions, your ethnicity, anything and everything about you. All right. And about everything that is God, and look at it and tell you the story behind it, what it's doing, their past lifetimes, whether it's a person or an animal or a pet or whatever it is. All I have to do is ask God for these answers, these gifts, right? And these placements and all these things that I'm telling you about me will also be in my astrology. Cool as shit. So Molly, I hope that gives you just a rundown of what's going on in him. You two have various energies of this. There's a whole nother Molly in there, just like there's a whole nother Lynn. Mine is buried in my physical body. And it's coming out in literal things that are happening as I do this work, right? Just like that past life had to come out, and I can see where Sophia's chart and my chart meet, right? In my solar return and in her natal. My sun is conjunct my vertex, and something else. Was it Venus? Yeah, Libra. I think it's Venus.
I think so.
Yeah, and Venus in my solar return, right? And in my daughter's natal, it is her moon that has this placement. Incredible stuff. So in your vertex, in your chart, your sun is the self, and your vertex is person, place, or things, life-altering events that happen, like boom, like Uranus, that come into your life that change it forever. And when it's conjunct the sun, it's like, oh my God. So this year has been a bunch of fuck storms for me. Boom, 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 boom. This happens. My kid gets sick. I get sick. Mold sickness. Worrying about where we're living. This happens. What about my job? Can I pay my rent? Money is not coming in, or so it gets really, really crazy, and the roof is leaking and water is pouring in. So it's just one fucking, and then the car doesn't work, right? And then somebody has a flat tire, and then my kid is throwing up, and it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Every day I wake up, something else is going on. And what is this designed to make me do? right? It's to make me give it to God. I thought I gave it to God before. But that's what these times are designed to do. Because when we work with love or God, then we're in our what? Our hearts. Our hearts. Okay. So, who's next? What time is it, though?
It's 8:20.
Oh, 8:20. Should we keep going? Because I want to answer a few more questions. Let's keep going. You guys cool with that?
Mm-hmm.
And if you guys have to go, just tell me. It's cool. Okay?
Ready?
All right. I'm ready. Who's next?
Mark is asking if he can clear sucking up everyone else's stuff as a Pisces.
Oh, yeah. What's funny, Mark? We already did that. We really did that in these placements here, but I'm going to ask God to add to that whatever all energy is that does this, but you can also do some stones in Earth World Reality too. But the more you do this work as well, Mark, the less you will do that, because the more you'll understand about how God and the love energy magic of how everything that is God works, right? Just like I was talking about energy and how I do what I do to some variation of it to explain it to people here and to us and to get a better understanding across the board, right? So the higher you vibrate, the less this will happen. The more you understand, the more you can work with this energy and do incredible things with energy. Because if you don't understand energy, you can't do it. Like my sister, one of the things that she does is she'll go out, and she's Pisces too, man. She's Pisces too. Woo.
Today's been a bitch, Mark.
Yeah.
I've been sucking up everybody's shit.
Well, I picked her up and I wanted to have a really great time, and she must have had a whole bunch of customers come into the storage unit facility today. And then she gets in my car and I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm like, you got everybody's shitty energy on you. She's like, sorry. And I'm like, fuck. And then she goes, why don't you drive home and let Rachel go with you? And for a minute, I really thought of it, because it was not the best ride we had, right? It was like, fuck me, right? Because she sucked up everybody else's shit, right? And then she didn't have any sage, right? Sage all the time. That's a great earth world tool. But also, the higher you vibrate, the less this happens, the more you can put bubbles around you to protect yourself as well. Anything that, put a bubble of protection from love, so you're free of other people's stuff every time you go out. And even when you watch TV, these energies come on you, whether you watch TV or get on the internet. Everything is energy, and everything affects everything else, whether you realize it or not. It plays a role, because everything is connected in all that is God, right? So that said, these are all ways that you can help yourself with clearing this energy, that's other people's stuff, right? I too have literally been with people, right? Like Rachel's been driving in the car with me, and my stomach will be really upset, and I don't normally have a stomach upset, and I'll be like, Rachel, I'm like, is your stomach bothering you? Remember that time? And she's like, yeah, it is bothering me. I'm like, fuck. I'm like, I'm feeling your stomach shit. I'm like, clear this out, God.
You felt it on the same side.
Yep, the same. I felt it on the same side, on the same spot, So this is, while we're super sensitive and we're super empathic and we're super compassionate and we're super gifted, right? We have to be aware when these things are happening, because I'm sitting here for I want to say maybe like half an hour. I'm like, what's going on? Why does my side hurt? I'm like, my fucking side hurts. What did I eat? What is going on? And then I'm like, okay, God, what is going on here? And then I looked at Rachel and I said, Rachel, is your stomach bothering you? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, shit, right? So we can even take on people's physical stuff, right? Especially if we're natural born healers, right? Right? Just like Sarasutra and other people here. You guys wouldn't be here if you weren't healers, because that's what I am too. What are healers? People who work with God or love to help people be well in all ways, really. All right, that said, not traditional earth world ways that we think, but earth world ways are part of that as well. Everything is here to help us from love, right? Okay, so you can use stones, Mark, black tourmaline, because there's electrical energies, there's all kinds of crazy shit. So you can use black tourmaline, you can use snowflake obsidian comes in for you for like stuff with stomach, right? The core of your back, clear quartz crystal will magnify these crystals. This comes in for you as well. Saying a prayer with God, but also amethyst comes in for you, and citrine. Citrine is a really great higher end stone for clearing stuff and protecting your energy, as well as for abundance, Mark. And we know about abundance, right? So, let's see. So that said, put yourself in a bubble, ask the universe to protect you, a bubble of love and light, be free of any toxic that comes at you and taking on other people's stuff every time you go out, and ask for that for all the time, right? And again, sage, all these earth world tools. But the more you work on your stuff, the higher you vibrate, the lesser of toxic energies can attach to you in that space or come onto you. Do you see what I'm saying? All right. So there you have it, Mark. Thank you. Who else? Jen's got one?
Okay, we have a question from last week from Brenda Stevens. She'd like to know what else she can do to help control / eliminate her RA.
Okay. All right. With the RA, it's complex. One of the biggest things you can do right off the bat is diet. And everyone cringes and says, oh, what the fuck about diet? I hate diet. And it's not. And this is one of the things I'm learning with my health stuff, right? Because the sickness that I have that has been triggered by the mold sickness is related to, is an RA in earth world belief systems, is a rheumatoid arthritis form of autoimmune disease, right? Or disorder, or earth world labeled sickness, right? But one of the best things that you can do is start working on your heart space, your soul, and your first and second houses, your self-love spaces, right? Anything that is a detriment in your astrology, if you don't know how to do that, you can work with me. You can keep coming to these classes. Like today, we did this massive clearing. This should help you immensely, right? To start to get to be well, all right? So you got to do the metaphysical work, right? But in the meantime, the very first biggest thing that comes in, right, is diet, right? Okay, so this is about whole foods, right? And this is about 60 to 70% fruits and vegetables, being free from processed foods, grains, sugars, chemical things. You know, you have to be really pay attention, and it's not unlike my littlest daughter with her seizures. We have to watch everything right now as we do the metaphysical work as well as detox, right? So you can do some detox things. You can look some up for yourself, all right? There's lots of them that you can look up, such as Mennonite clay. I think is it Bentonite clay, and or is it it's activated charcoal, and I think it's Bentonite clay. But look up those things. You can make them into like a shake, or they come in a capsule. We like a capsule one. There's some people swear by a coconut one, but if you're allergic or coconut doesn't resonate with your body and you, like, it doesn't work for me. Coconut doesn't work for me, so I wouldn't use the coconut based ones for the most part, right? So provided that, you know, if you have stuff that you're allergic to, that's all part of your illness, you see, because then you have an intolerance for things that you wouldn't normally have. And again, intolerances and forcing ourselves to diet is all because we don't do our work on this, right? Because what's happening to me, believe it or not, and this is another great example of my story here with all of this, right? What happens is, the more I go down this path and the more I work on this metaphysical stuff in me, right? This metaphysical stuff, the more I don't have those cravings, because I'm healing myself emotionally and in all ways. But it is, as a general rule, autoimmune is because we don't love ourselves in the healthiest, best way, and everybody else comes first, and we're caregivers and we give to everybody else. And then before you know it, we can't move for ourselves. We're inflamed in ourselves. We can't live or do anything for ourselves, right? So cancer too. I mean, a lot of this stuff, a main core of this. Now, this isn't everything of the God's honest truth of the completion of it, of course, but this gives you a general idea where to look, right? And all of this is based in self-love. We tend to put everybody else first, and that's how we're taught here. Just like with this COVID shit, and I think I've talked about this before. They're like, oh, get a vaccine to save somebody else's grandmother. Fuck no. Fuck no. If there's no you, right, then you're screwed. You're screwed, right? So when they say get a vaccine to save somebody's grandmother, that's exactly that, right? That's exactly that, right? You can't save somebody else by getting a vaccine for you. It's not how it works. It's not how it works. And this is what they teach you. Do everything for everybody else. And women, since the 1930s and 40s too, they condition women, right? They would go home and put a robe on their husband. Here's your cigarette. Here's your drink, hubby. And here's your slippers. And I take care of everything in the house. You guys know what I'm talking about. Read up, look through history, right? Because this is all part of the issue. Because they don't teach healthy self-love. They teach everybody to give everything to everybody else. And basically, that's what what they're doing in the government right now. Well, you'll have nothing and be happy. Fuck you, government. Fuck you. That's just because that's not truth of God or love, and that's the God's honest truth. So this too, sorry, that's a little my rage. All right, but that's why I'm working on my stuff. But also, rage in a healthy way is the truth. It's a good, positive thing because we need to be able to express how we feel in our human spaces. But back to your stuff, right? This is everything to do with all of this. Your life needs to be about you now. All your dreams for you, right? Not for other people. It doesn't mean that you say, oh, well, I can't care for you ever, right? You ask God for the healthiest way to do all these things, the best way from love, right? Because if you don't, there's going to be no you. And that's why you can't get the COVID-19 shot if you can help it. And if you've done that, well, then ask God how to heal that. Because you can get gifts and tools from everywhere. God will bring them to you, if not from here, right? Because you can heal anything with love energy or God. Do your metaphysical work and balance it in earth world. And this is all what we do and teach here. And this is why we're doing this show, because this is bullshit, the stuff they're selling people. Because it's not based in the God's honest truth. Where do you find the God's honest truth? In the 8th house in your astrology, Scorpio, Pluto, right? And most importantly, by talking to God or love and asking for it. Do you see? So for your rheumatoid arthritis, the first place you go to diet is 60 to 70% fruits and vegetables. Don't eat things that you're allergic to. Even healthy stuff that you would think, like for me, coconuts. I can't have coconut. I can't have coconut oil, right? I remember my sister frying some shit up in coconut oil, and I was like, it's horrible, right? But we're okay, right? And so even some things, and that's just to show you that even some things that seem healthy are not always healthy for you. Like my littlest daughter is allergic to bananas, right? Since she was teeny, right? She, we went to Cheesecake Factory. She sat there. They gave her strawberry pieces and bananas, and then she started to projectile vomit all over the restaurant in like 2 seconds. And I was like, okay, we got a problem here. That was a rough experience. However, right, it's just more of how our bodies tell us what the truth is of what's going on with us, right? So while we have these deficits in our metaphysical, right, and in our physical, right, our physical shows us where they are. So, there's certain things that you want to stay away from. You want to do whole foods or not processed meats and stuff like that. So you want to start building up vitamins, minerals, and herbs and things like that. Everything from cell salts you can use to numbers 5, 6, 7, and come in for you really strongly with this, okay? With this, again, and you can text me if you want to know exactly how to do all of this, right? But you can also Google these things yourself, right? And what is 5, 6, 7? 5 is your house where your heart is. That's Leo. 6 is where your health is. And 7 is in your relationships. This is about your relationship with you, not loving you in the healthiest, best way. And then it manifests kind of like my stuff. See my big, my hand? I don't know if you can see it. However, I'm having really great improvements. I've had to make a lot of diet changes, right? And I'm working on that, right? And as well as, vitamins, all guided by universe. We're doing a detox, right? But this isn't just that I'm giving you shit for me. I'm telling you specifically what they're telling me for you. Right? And yes, it's in alignment with what I'm doing because the formula, there's a basic formula that's the same, but there's certain things that you're going to feel resonating with and called to because you're uniquely different and you will know what those are. And if you don't or you're confused, ask me, PM me. You can ask me here as well, but start here. And doing your metaphysical work, doing your astrology chart. Just start with to make it really simple because astrology can be really complex and fucking crazy, just like everything that is God. There's 2 things that any of us can simply do. The first thing is be in our heart, listen to how we feel about these things, and then there's 2 more, right, for the completion, right? Talk to God or love all the time, right? And then take your astrology chart and just very simply, right, and just do your natal chart. Because that will start you off with the beginning of everywhere and everything you need to learn and go to make this really simple, what we do here. I get into it really complex and crazy, but, as we go through this, and sometimes it's more simple, but in the most practical way, we always do our best to teach it. But we all have to start somewhere, and I started these places too. Very simply, the very first thing I did is, okay, God, when I got on this path, I said, God, I had enough suffering. I don't want to cry anymore. I don't want to hurt anymore. I don't want to be sad anymore. I don't want to be angry anymore. I just want to be happy in all that I am. And I cried and cried for days on my bed. Right? And then God brought me to the best teachers for me. Boom, 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 boom. The best learning, the best guidance. And then I was like, wow, if I can do that with one little prayer, imagine what I could do if I talk to universe, love, God with everything all the time. Because eventually what happens is you're one with God and the whole galactic center opens up and you become it. And mad information comes in all the time, just like we do here, because that's what we do, right? As we're growing and we're learning and we're stepping into these new spaces of God and enlightenment, right? Cool as shit. First thing is, be in your heart. Ask love. And if you can't even do any of this, just ask love what love would do. Would love do this? That's a grace saying, from what I understand. Would love do this, right? When you want to punch somebody in the face, would love do this? Sometimes love might. That's why I always talk to God, because I might punch Rachel in the face, but not Jennifer, right? And there's a reason for that. Trust the universe. When they tell you to do something crazy, you got to trust love, right? But be sure it feels right in your heart and that you talk to God or love about it, and you make sure that you know for sure what the truth of love is, right? And how do you get that? What's the God's honest truth here, right? All right. 3 times is the number of active God. You'll get 3 messages at least. 4 is the number of completion, right? And you'll get them over and over. Just like with the past life that I had here, over and over, I showed you things, how Jennifer's scarf, the dress my daughter wore, my baby, right? All of those things connected to that past life, which tells me the truth of God and this reality. And it wasn't just 1, 2, 3, and 4 times. It was multiple stuff. Over and over and over, and then I'm walking, across the parking lot here from one space to the other to do the energy work. And they're like, oh, or earlier in the day, and they're telling me you need to play 1943 music. Isn't that wild? So God will bring you all the answers, and they'll come out of nowhere, right? You'll be vacuuming on the floor and then all of a sudden those answers will come. So start here. All right. And you can ask anything that you want in the meantime, but you've got tons of stuff. The other thing is turmeric. Turmeric as well. Liquid turmeric is fantastic for inflammation as well. And let me just see. And also what they're telling me, I don't know if you do anything with Edgar Cayce, right? One of the coolest tools is the Castor Oil Pack. But when people get in that space, like I have to buy this and I buy that and I buy this, but you can actually buy like a pack online, right? That's really easy, and you put like 2 tablespoons on it. You drip it on this like canvas pack thing, and you can just put it right here on your right side, right on top of your liver for detox. It's fantastic, and they're telling me you can do that. They're telling me spread it apart, but twice a week, right? But take breaks, so that you have it where you're not doing too much of everything all at once. Feel in your heart. Should I do it today? How many times should I do it? I feel like you should do it twice a week, but spread apart by at least 4 days for the first month or so. But again, ask God. Is that right? They're telling me perfect. So you feel in your heart what you should do. It's a topical thing, right? But you can read all about it. Anything I say here, read up on, get the facts so that you know what we're talking about here. And if you don't understand it or you don't know how to do it, you can PM me as well, okay? And I will gladly give you guidance from the universe, God or love, to help you with this, okay? Okay, so that said, should be good. Any questions? Let me know. Go ahead.
Teresa Courtney Lloyd wrote in. She said, I'm always a work in progress and handling it well. How do I shut up the negativity in my brain other than screaming shut the fuck up every time it arises?
Okay, ask God to be free of it. It's very simple. Ask love to be free of it. Every single time you get a shitty thought. I used to have like mad OCD when I was younger, to the point where I think my parents were going to put me into an asylum. I think we talked about that, right? My parents were like, if you don't stop this crazy behavior, Lynn, you're going to have to go into a mental hospital. And I freaked out. And my soul was like, and it shut it down. But I was only a little kid, right? But it doesn't matter. I mean, those thoughts, those incessant OCD compulsive thoughts were still there, right? And I kept saying, oh my God, let me be free of this now, please, God. Put the best way to be from love, right? Now, these are all Mercury, Saturn placements, right? Virgonian placements, right? These are all kinds of, your Chiron. All these things, like the work we did today, is going to help you immensely with that. When we get these nasty, toxic thoughts, right, that come up incessantly, these are just habits and patterns, and they're not truth of God, and meaning in terms of what is best for you from love, right? They come in, they come up, right? And your soul is designed to release this stuff. So when I was younger, and I would still get those thoughts, but I just didn't talk to anybody about them because I was like, holy shit, terrified of going into a mental institute, because those were the beliefs in those days, in the 60s and 70s. You know what I mean? If you heard voices in your head, or you couldn't stop your crazy behavior, right? Or what they deemed your crazy behavior. But if they knew of a way to deal with it that was healthy like this, then it's a whole different game, right? And there's actually solace in amazing things, because you can and will be free of this, Teresa. How you get rid of it is by doing this chart work, talking to God all the time, right? So set aside an hour every night. Look up some placements. Clear them out of your soul, just like we do. We're going to do a show on that. I feel like it's coming, and that's why so much of tonight was devoted to that, right? But it will come, and if you do this work, because you raise your vibration, and those thoughts can't come in anymore, right? Like I had somebody who told me that my daughter was getting high all the time, and she's hanging out in cars, and they're doing hot boxing, and they're drinking, and they're doing drugs, and it's only a matter of time before she gets arrested by the police, because she went through some kind of drug phase when she was younger, right? Smoking pot, right? I'm sure she did other things that were toxic. However, this person insisted that bad things were going to happen to her. I said, I talk to God all the time, and even though the kid is going through this phase, we're working with God. We're clearing this stuff out. We're working on this, right? And she's under the umbrella of this energy. Right? And as long as we're always working on it and raising her vibration, that the energy, I said, will not manifest into this. And I'm not buying into what you're saying will happen. I'm not buying it. Right? And that again, right, is what we talked about. Fueling somebody else's shit about the toxic that's going to happen to your kid, and they're going to end up in jail and rehab and all this other garbage, right? That's toxic for them. And you're freaking out because your kid is experimenting with drugs and they shouldn't be, right? And then you take that energy and you go, they shouldn't be, meaning that means there's just something unwell, and it's not acceptable in society, of course, right? Because it isn't well, right? So you're freaking out about this. You take all that energy, and then what do? You freak out and you fuel that, and it literally happens. But the higher you vibrate, the more you're going to say, oh no, thanks God for me being free of whatever John over here just told me. Let me be free of that, because that's not truth of God or love. And I'm going to be free of anything, and I'm not allowing me to take on his beliefs. In fact, I'm going to give it to the universe and ask for the best outcome for all of us from love with all of this. And then I don't even have to worry about it. And then I work on myself. We work together. We work on her. She works on her. And then we're super protected from love, and things start to change. And as the vibration rises in her, and in all of us, right, that can't happen, because you don't get arrested and you don't get lower vibrational shit for the most part, right? There's exceptions to every rule. If you're doing your spiritual work and working with God. Like people say to me, well, how can you have all these bad things happen to you, Lynn? Well, guess what? Lynn is this jackass, and she asks God for incredible, amazing things, right? To be this super amazing spiritual teacher, right? She asks God for this, but you can't be that without doing the work, right? So everything in my life that is now happening is designed to bring me to the highest level of this place with God or love, but it doesn't come without doing the work. And sometimes it's some really tough stuff. What I'm going through right now, it's a bear. It's a bear. And instead, but I can let it destroy me, or I can become miserable with it, or I can believe that it's going to destroy me, and I could lose my shop, my center, my house, my home, my kids, and I can blow it out of proportion. This is Saturn, man. This is Saturn, but this will happen because it's ask and you shall receive. 34 years ago, right? When I was 34, I asked God for these things. 34. I'm now 54. And it is time for me to be that guy. But apparently, the deepest, darkest demons have to get out of me before I can be that amazing healer, amazing master teacher in its entirety and one with God and all that it is, right? And this is for all of us. This isn't just about me. It's for whatever your dreams are. This doesn't have to be the greatest dream that is you, but it's totally, all of this relates to everything that I'm talking about that is you. That is you. Why? Because it's ask and you shall receive. When you ask God for amazing things, they literally happen. But it doesn't come in 3 seconds, and without doing the work. One of the neatest things is you have sex, you make a baby, right? And then it takes like 9 or 10 months before you see that baby, usually in this reality, right? So that baby had to, what do they call it? Bake in the bun in the oven, right? It had to cook in there, right? It had to grow. So that's Saturn. It takes time, but you got to do the work, right? So you got to be in that space. You got to let it happen, right? So that said, ask God to clear these things out every single time. The second you get that thought, you don't have to make yourself crazy with it. Just say, love, thank you for me being free of this. Thanks for me being free of that. Thanks for me being free of this thought. Thanks for me being free of that. Each and every time when they come in, ask for those things. Ask love to be free of this. Ask love for everything you need. And then in place of this, put the best way to be from love in the purest form. In this reality, any reality and all that is. Thanks God for that for me, right? So each time, just say, thanks for me being free of this. Replace it with pure love. And thank you, God, for that for me. It's that simple. And just keep doing that and keep working on your astrology, your astrological work, right? Your spiritual stuff, right? However you want to do it, right? But astrology is a great way to do it because it's infinite. All right, and we're going to do the stuff here like we did tonight. We're going to have a show that we're going to do this stuff on into the future. I'm feeling it. Okay, that said, and what will happen, Teresa, right, is you will raise your vibration, right, to a place, which is why I told you the story about my daughter and the hot box and the car and the drugs and and somebody saying that she's going to get arrested, right, because if her vibration is rising, right, less and less, this stuff will happen. And at some point, you're going to wake up in the morning, you're going to be like, holy shit, that's gone. And then you're going to go, well, how did that happen? Just like I said to God when all this was happening to me, I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? I'm like, why am I having all these challenges, like a million every single day? Why? Because it's time for me to level up with God. Get in a different space of love energy. Why? Because I asked God for these things. I asked. So ask to be free of this in its entirety and all energy this is. And I would look up all the detrimental places that are traditional detrimental placements in your natal astrology chart. Your Chiron, your North Node, your South Node. And it doesn't mean they're all detrimental. There's wonderful gifts in them as well. But what you're doing is you're kind of hunting for tidbits of gold to heal you, to free you from this. You know what I mean? All right. That said, I think we should kind of wrap it up for tonight. Sound good? All right. So, Teresa, that's how you do it. Ask to be free of it. Keep working on your work. Pray on everything. The more you work and talk to God or love and follow your heart, and this is for all of us, the greater the life you're going to live and the greater you're going to get to your dreams, no matter what they are. Okay? From love. All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming. We'll see you on Sunday at 7:15 for Live Talk Forum, if you guys are ready. I don't know. This energy has been pretty schizophrenic and crazy these days, in the beginning especially, and then we do our prayer to even it out and get in that better space. But this is the energy of all the shifts. These shifts are happening. We're releasing crazy stuff. So, of course, we're going to have some of this in the energy. So thank you all for coming. If you can donate to what we do, fantastic. You can do it on PayPal, I think. And where else? Venmo. And you can also send a donation to the Shoppe and Center here. I think Rachel will send you the links. But if not, either way, share with us energetically whatever you can do from love in your heart if you want to support our mission and what we do. And also, we'll see you Sunday night for more awesome Live Talk Forum. And bring your questions for then, too. And I love you guys. And thanks. Thanks so much. All right. Talk to you soon.